Doubles killer number 3 is all about positioning, and at the rec level, it's really positioning at the net. So what are some of the big mistakes you see rec players make?
Rec players just stand there. You know, they're flat-footed, they're on their heels. They're not moving. Depending on where the ball goes, you have to move, and you have to position yourself well to make for an easy volley, and that's really the key to volleying.
You kind of call it standing there like a statue?
Yeah, you want to always be active, be aggressive when it's there, be defensive and step back when the opponent's got an easy shot. So, yeah, you got to always stay moving.
And a lot of it sounds like, is based on what's going on the other side of the court in terms of the type of shot you're anticipating will affect how you position yourself.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If that ball goes outside the alley, you got to shift over and cover the line. There's just simple little things you can do to make your volley go way up. Great.
Well, we'll work through some of those exercises. All right, so positioning at the net, like we just said, is just a big thing for recreational players. And what you, Mike, I think you were describing it as just the statue, just sort of like.
Yeah, you don't want to be stuck in the mud in one spot. If you're not hitting the ball, you always got to be moving and active. You always got to be making forward moves or backward moves, side moves. And that's all determined on if you can be aggressive. If Bob hits a good shot, then I move forward. If the guy is setting up with a big forehand, you got to maybe take a step back or hold your ground. But this is the sweet spot. This is where you want to start, right in the middle of the box. And then you can get as close from 1 inch from the net. You never want to go back to no man's land, but you can take a few steps back and get near the service line if you're in a defensive position.
Okay, so you're moving. I mean, this is like if we were going to use a basketball analogy. You're moving without the ball, right?
Yeah.
You're playing with me. I'm the point guard. I got it. You're not standing there. You're trying to get open.
Got to be good without the ball.
Yeah.
And that just affects his vision. You know, if he has a forehand, you know, Mike's coming forward, taking away the alley, and then cutting to the line, just making him think, taking his eye off the ball. You know, the deeper I hit it, probably the more Mike creeps in.
Okay.
If I hit it really short, you might see Mike back up just a little bit.
Okay, so this is like you know, the positioning doubles killer. Most rec players do not move without the ball.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
If you watch us play, we're always moving our feet. We're always jumping, split stepping. Sometimes we move our feet too much. I mean, we're always active, trying to take their. I mean, when you're not moving, you're faking, and you're just trying to basically throw up a smoke screen sometimes. Okay. Sometimes you got to be a bluffer.
Okay, so let's get you guys rallying. Yeah. And Mike, you're not going to poach, but you're just going to. I want everybody watching to look at how Mike is moving without the ball.
Coming. And Mike,
So Mike, do it where you don't poach. You just kind of like.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so what we saw there basically was almost like there's a V on the court where here's you started here and you kind of shifted over when the ball was going on. Bob hits, you shift forward.
Yeah, I'm making a lot of forward moves.
You reset.
Yeah, you got to reset. As you can tell, I'm a little out of breath. You know, you're making quick moves. I made a lot of moves to the middle, see if the ball was there. Sometimes it wasn't. I had to get back in a neutral position. And then a couple times Bob hit the ball out to the alley. And I covered my alley. I made a move forward here. But I'm always trying to get back. If I'm not in the point, I'm not in the play, this is where I want to be, my sweet spot.
Okay.
And then I make an aggressive move from there.
Okay, so when the ball is going that way and it's a quality hit shot, you're moving forward.
Yeah.
And then if it's towards the center, you creep this way. If it's wide, you kind of creep that way, maybe as a general rule.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes wide, the easiest shot for him to hit is down my alley. So I got to be here. But if it's in the middle of the court, it's tough to get an angle off that. So I want to be here. This is where I'm going to win the point, from the middle.
Yeah. Okay.
And playing together for so long, Mike knows that if I get a short forehand, I'm probably going to pull it down the line at the net guy.
Okay.
So doing that, Mike's going to shift over and try to take the ball out of the air and hit the volley.
And what we saw with that simply by shifting that last shot, that volley you put away, you would only have gotten that if you had moved forward. Now, you weren't poaching, but you were just positioning yourself properly. And then at the rec level, the precision's not always going to be there. So if you just position yourself in the right way, you're going to have a put-away volley.
I mean, he didn't hit a great shot, but if I'm hitting from back here, then I got a really tough volley to hit a winner here. But I mean, if it turns into a really simple volley, if I'm here, I'm hitting down, that court becomes huge. I could do everything with that one. But if you're back, that's the number one sign that you're playing against a bad doubles player. Is that we're hitting deep volley.
We're looking at our chops when we're getting ready to return and we see the guy standing on the service line.
And the guy's just like,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, doesn't matter how bad the return is, he's not going to be able to put the volley away because he's too deep.
Yeah.
Got it. One more question in terms of positioning. Bob is hitting great shots, so you were always moving forward.
Yeah.
What happens if Bob doesn't hit quite as good of a shot?
Yeah, I mean, that happens.
Then how do you position yourself?
Is when the point shifts in their favor and they're hitting great shots at Bob, who's stuck on the baseline, kind of half volleying. Then I'm actually kind of bracing. Maybe it's taking a shift back, depending on how big the guy's forehand is or how aggressive he is. I'm ready to use my Japanese speed train type hands. I'm ready for the ball to come at me, and I'm not moving forward. You can't move forward in that situation.
Okay, so you'd be here, and typically you'd be going one way, but if it's a weaker shot and you see
I would
it,
step back, but maybe I could go forward one step, but I'm definitely going to start from here. You have time when you see a guy setting up to take 1 or 2 steps back, then brace, and maybe use your legs to go forward a little bit. You still want to attack a big ball, you know?
Yeah.
That's just our philosophy. Is you want to go out and get a ball, even if it's crush at 120 miles at your head, because when you have your weight going forward, it's easy to hit a good volley.